we're live. It is Thursday morning. It's June 5th. So we're at 6:05. And let's kick off the morning. We got Gary, we got Start Zone, Stickman, Rollin. I'm so happy to see you in here, man. Let's crack down on it. I'll walk you through your specific strategy a little bit later in premium, but I want to make sure that you're able to see some of the stuff in action here, for better or for worse. So just so everybody here knows, I have I'm starting the day with 2:15.36. I have some hotkeys set up. I'll walk through those in a little bit, just like I try to do for everybody. That's primarily what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be looking to really take anything pre-market. I might take one if I see something I like, but we're just going to wait for high quality, high potential, low risk setups, and we're going to exploit the hell out of that disproportionate risk reward ratio. What's up, Jenny G, Yojo, Tammy, Sad Boy Slim? Are you guys excited? We got I'm leaving tomorrow, going down to Chicago, and then we'll have our in-person 4-day trading seminar. I'm stoked. All right, so obviously I'm just using the top screeners, the tops list here on Webull, and I set it to pre-market. Sorry. And that's all I really care about right now. I don't want to make anything super complicated for you guys. We're just going to kind of go with the flow and listen to the chart. How long is my train ride? It's like 22 hours or something, which isn't bad. You know, I take the New York to Chicago all the time, and back, obviously. It's kind of fun. I like it. I'm not going to do a sleeper car or any of that stuff. I just want to get there. I don't have a lot of baggage or anything like that either. So, hey, what's up, Michelle? 22 hours, I think it is. So I leave here like Friday evening, Friday late afternoon. And then I think it's Friday evening. And then I get there at like Saturday afternoon. Oh, what's up, Redman? So right now we're just kind of seeing how the market behaves. And we're really going to wait for a high quality setup, probably around market open or into the open. Just so you guys all know, I'll never really take like 2 trades a day, right? The goal isn't to trade a bunch and become a slave to the market and split all my equity up and all that good stuff. I'm just here to get in and get out with reasonable rewards that I can compound day after day after day. So if I pull this up over here, you know, so far 3 days this week, you know, we've exceeded the 3% profit target that I like to shoot for. Some days will be red, some days will be green. The green ones must be bigger, right? That's all I care about. And that leads to portfolio growth, and that leads to compounding net positive results. So like right here, I would see this as a good opportunity, but it would be high risk, so I'm not going to take it. And the reason I say that is because I don't really like the volume right now. This thing should be rocking and rolling. This thing should be blasting. And it's just kind of a judgment call at this point. So this is an opportunity where, like, I think a lot of people would try to jump in, and they'd probably get a little bit spanked on that one. So we don't want that. Sad Boy Slim, I've never once rode on a train other than Disney's. That's okay. It's not a bad idea to at least check it out. You know, Amtrak's a little bit, I don't want to say they're corporatizing, but they're definitely different than the Amtrak of 10 years ago, as far as kind of piecemealing together your service. I don't really know how to describe it, but anybody who's been on a train within the last 10 years can probably understand what I'm talking about. It's definitely different, but you know, train's a train. It gets you from A to B, right? That's your commuter, your A to B. So this is a good idea. I like this one, but we'll see. So this one was the one that I was actually watching. It's got to recover though, right? Like we had this big, massive slam super early in the morning, and then it just died off. And that's unfortunately what happens for a lot of these companies, especially these low float garbage ones, right? So now that the brokers are open, you know, after 9 o'clock, this one's kicking back up again because more people see it, and they see that it's 87% up or 100% up, whatever, pre-market. The problem with this though is that volume, shut up alarm, that volume is currently going the other way, right? So we don't have to jump in just yet, but we do want to jump in when it's appropriate, and that's what we're going to study. So if you look at SCNI, I don't know if you guys can see that on the screen. Hopefully you can, but you'll see it's the market cap is 2.52 million and the volume is 3.15 million. So this is kind of that disproportionate attention that I like, because when stuff like that happens, a lot of people get scared because, you know, it's overextended, blah, 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 blah. But that also leads to a lot of good, high quality potential, because those are the ones that tend to just get those absurd runs So this one's definitely worth watching, SCNI. So I'm probably just going to flip around for the first couple of minutes and just kind of see what's out there and just kind of look at the volume. I'm not going to jump into stuff just because it's pushing down, and I'm not going to try to buy the dip or catch the bottom, because you can't do that reliably on low float garbage. I see a lot of people try it. I see a lot of people get hurt. My goal is to buy something when it is moving up, because that's the direction that's going to make me money. And then I don't want to try to get out at the top. I want to get out somewhere close, right? And then if it goes down, I want to get out even closer, right? That's the goal. That's all trading is. But that is one of the hardest things for people to do, despite how simple it is, because it's very difficult to actually execute. I would say if I had to look for an entry on this one, it would probably be here. But again, I just don't like that volume, so I'm not going to. And if I pass on an entry and it goes, that's okay, right? Because I don't have access to this information yet, and I can't blame myself for letting something go and letting that confirmation bias beat me down. Because if I look at this one, you could have said the same thing over here, right? And now look at it; it's just a different outcome. So our brain doesn't treat it that way, So I kind of like this one as well. I've been watching this one throughout the morning. It's got a lot of volatility, and that's really all I need. I just want to catch something as it's pushing. Let me catch up on the chat here. Sorry. You know what? I'm actually going to put the chat over here for a second. All right. So farthest trip I've ever had is 3 hours max. Imagine 22. It's really not that bad. It's all the same. If you can ride a train for an hour, you can ride a train for a day. Yeah. You definitely want to. You'd love to do it when you get a chance. It's worth it. I mean, so like I'm near the capital region in New York, so I can just take a train down to like the Bronx Zoo or something. It's a day trip kind of thing. It's always fun. There you go, Tammy. Yeah, dinner, wine, chocolate train ride, and you're going up on your cruise in Alaska too. So that's something a lot of people haven't done either, is a cruise. Not a bad idea for a date trip. Yeah, that's pretty cool. If you can go somewhere, like a lot of people take trains in the fall, especially up here in the Northeast. There's some pretty scenic views. Now, a lot of it is going to be like people's backyards and fences, depending on where you go. A lot of tunnels and rock walls. So, keep that in mind so you don't get disillusioned. Can the chat not go on a separate screen? So I have another monitor over here. The problem is when I want to read the chat, I have to turn my head, and it looks weird because the way my camera is and the way my face is. So it's very it's off-putting. Oh, what's up, Chinga? How's it going? Welcome, welcome. So I'm just kind of watching the market resolve itself a little bit into market open. So basically what's going to happen is when the market opens, everything is going to turn chaotic. And I'm just looking for a little piece of that chaos. I might grab some just going into the market. But basically that, actually, hang on a second. So this is SCNI. I think I might be grabbing some of that here in a second. All depends on whether or not we get this volume to come in. Sorry, I just saw a shift over here in the order book. I just want to pay attention to that real quick. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece. All right, so if I can get filled. If I can't, that's okay. All right, so I got filled. So 594 plus 6% is 620, 630. Let me draw a line here at 630. So that is going to be my tentative target. I'm automatically going to set a sell order up so that I can exit my shares here. And I'm going to set that to the last price. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to wait for, I'll try not to make this super complicated. Basically, there's algos, there are algorithmic computers that are trading on this on this ticker, and they are in a setup which will or should, in theory, trigger volume and then consume the smaller ones. So there's multiple sets of algos on here. There's zone recovery algos, and they're trading a tight range. And there's a bigger algo on here that is trying to maintain that range, and he's failing. So basically what that means is that, let's say, let me draw this here. So this is the range that they want to keep it in. And then there's little breakout zones on the outside. This is where that big algo is going to trigger. He's going to flip his orders, and he's going to run, right? That's the basic strategy. So they trade the inside until it invalidates. Then when it breaks to the upside or the downside, they'll trip their orders and reverse position and just blast it now that they've accumulated a bunch. And what's happening here is that these little algos are just on the outside of this. So he's letting it kind of pop out a little bit. And you can see that here and in the time and sales in the order book. It's a little bit complicated. God, I wish I was just talking to the lifers here. So basically what's going to happen is he's going to drive the price up. He's going to drive the price down, right? And then they're going to trade the inside. He's going to trade the inside. And then he's going to grab a little piece here. And he's just consuming these guys, but he's not holding the range effectively. And what's going to happen is they're going to consume him. And then the price is going to do one of these things. It's going to go either up or down. So let me erase all these lines here. And I'll just redraw my line here at 6:30. So I'm okay to let this one breathe a little bit just because of what I'm seeing. And I also have the remaining 50% of this portfolio in settled cash so that I can, commit to a second buy if I need to, but shouldn't need that. It should just push here pretty soon. Let me catch up on the chat. Teach us what you teach the lifers, and then they'll be like, I would love to. The problem is it would be, I think, a little overwhelming because we have more. Yeah, see this right here is what I'm talking about. This little heartbeat. There's a lot of like build-up knowledge. So if I just throw a bunch of complicated words at you, it's going to be more confusing than it would be if I just kind of broke it down in simpler terms. It is overall. I'm sorry, Tammy. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's not. I'm not like gatekeeping, trying to get you guys to pay for lifetime or anything. That's entirely your choice, but there is a more defined progression in the education. So it just wouldn't make sense for someone to talk about astrophysics, or something like that. Porter, calm down. There's no pressure. When you guys are ready, it's there. Yeah, Tammy, I saw. I popped open my Discord. I saw like 50-something messages in there, and Duck was in there, and I was like, I'm gonna have so much scrolling. There's a heartbeat. So next candle or the next candle should be our pop. So actually make these a little skinnier so you guys don't get so it doesn't obscure the price, and I'll make them dashed as well just for aesthetics. We like aesthetics. All right, and then we'll just wait for market open. This is either going to go up or down, right? We should be going up, and that's pretty I'm pretty confident in that because of what I'm seeing. So we'll just wait until I no longer see what I'm currently seeing. And then if that's what the chart tells me to do, then I'll get out. And there's a release a little bit. Let's see if it can sustain. I'm going to change this to 75. 75% of my shares, and then I'll just sell that. So in theory, right, this should be breaking for a new high. That's the goal. That's not always a guarantee. So instead, what I can do is I can sell 75% of my shares, which is more than half. That can go up to the target, and then I can leave the remaining 25% into market open in 50 seconds, and then I can keep that in place. Or if it falls back down, that 25% that I have remaining won't necessarily eat into those profits too much and make me lose. And in 40 seconds, when the market opens up, I have hotkeys just for that. So I don't need to use my mouse. I just hold control and I can press 2 to sell 75% or control 3 to just close out the entire position. So we got about 27 seconds. Just by a full-time translator. I'm sorry. I try not to talk too much or use too many complicated words. You have to build up into it. Like I could talk about the nucleus accumbens and amygdala and all that. Like if you haven't had the rest of the conversation, it's just going to be a bunch of words about the brain, All right, so market is now open. So we just watched this little number right here, and we watched this little guy right here, and it goes up here, and then we hit some buttons, and then we lock our profits, and we walk away if it goes up. So far, it's still looking bullish in terms of the volume profile here. But we don't want to blindly subscribe to that. And I still have the other buy as well. So actually, let me just come over here really fast. So I got 108.44 in reserve. So let me just change that. 108. Wish I could do that. I'll just set it up over here, I guess. I'll just do 108. Oh, you know what? We'll do 105. I don't want to throw all 108 in there. And that'll have an automatic take profit. Actually, no, I think I'm going to set that up over here. Yeah, let me just do that. I'm doing too many buttons here. I'll set a take profit on that guy. And I always set it to GTC or good till canceled. So this is still looking pretty good in my opinion. It's just got to make that decision and go. It should have sold off by now otherwise, right? That's the assumption. And I'm going to go ahead and cancel this order here too, just so I don't accidentally hit a button, because I do that sometimes. Ooh, don't like that. That's okay. So I still have that reserve cash in case I need to either add to this, or in case I just want to do a hard stop, I can just walk away from that. Delightful. But I would like to get a just a clear pop, and this is why I'm letting this one breathe, because a lot of times like this will probably get bought back up. And a lot of people see something like this in market open and just freak out. And that's okay, right? If you want to just keep those risks nice and tight, you can always get back in. And, you know, I kind of preach, you know, super tight risks and stuff. But if you're also, you know, if you're prioritizing risk management, you really don't want to trade in the first couple minutes, you know, so it's a little bit counterproductive or a little bit contradictory to keep tight risks and try to trade this stuff, you know. So also, let me go ahead and look around here. I'm just going to change this to 1 day. And we'll just keep an eye on whatever else we get. So this is SCNI. I'm just going to kind of glance around a little bit here. Ooh, what was that? Yeah, see, that's a nice one. That's so biotechs, once they get certain things in their volume, they just go. Those are the ones that I really just like to use my control 9 for. That's just a buy, and then it sets a take profit like immediately. That's nice. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so a good chunk of these are starting to, there's a little bit of volume in the market, right? So this is, you know, this one's going to do its little push-pull thing, and that's okay. You swung a SPY call, closed it open in your green. Ooh, whiskey biscuits, buddy. What was the confidence level on that one? How are you feeling about it? I could trade some SPY on this one. You guys want me to do a like an SPX trade on this one? You'll get one. It's my 1 per week. And I said I wouldn't do them on this account because I don't want to blow it up super fast. And I mean blow it up, I mean grow it super fast. Because I'm not going to be risking the whole portfolio. But I would like to show you guys the process that I use. I think that'll be pretty fun. Tikak says yes. We're getting some support of that idea. Okay. I figure because it's live streamed, it'll be okay. Chris Deck says yes, please. Tammy says follow your plan. I mean, it is my plan. I wanted 1 per week, but I wasn't gonna do one. I don't think. That was only so that I don't like, so other people don't believe that you have to do that to be successful. Because I see a lot of that too. It's like, oh, I need to trade SPY. I need to trade SPX. I need to trade Tesla or NVIDIA or anything else that's like super volatile, you know, but you don't need that. What's up, Elton? How you doing? So right now, we're just kind of letting this one breathe. This is SCNI. I don't recommend anybody blindly copy me. Please don't, especially because of this. You know, we all have different reactions to stuff and different risk tolerances. I'm letting this breathe. So you misclicked and bought 30 shares. Was that a market order down here, or was that a limit order up here? Doing great. Good, 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 good. Welcome, welcome. So after this one works out, I'm going to grab I'll grab an SPX trade. Okay, it's your birthday. Hook you up. Well, happy birthday. You're 21 again. I'm excited for you. Oh, you bought it up there? Okay. Does this fall within your risk tolerance, knowing that this is a low float, market open, crazy boy? And do you have a plan to cut it if it no longer fits? Sorry, guys. I'm a little congested today. I don't know what's going on. I got some post-nasal. Papa's money. Is that Papa's as in paper or as in your father's money? Like generational wealth? All right. Well, you be careful. Don't it's potato. I know what Papas are. Papas fritas. You can make paper out of potatoes. You can make paper out of just about anything. Don't tell the government. You want potato money? Well, that's what you're here for, buddy. So speaking of potatoes, we now know what we're looking at right here, right? So, normally I would just add my second buy as soon as this breaks over, but then we don't get our SPX trade. So I'm just going to wait for this pattern to break here, and then we'll get our pop, in theory, anyway. And then I'll just lock that profit, and we'll shoot over to SPX, and we'll grab ourselves some cash, hopefully. If not, we'll take a small loss, and it will be an acceptable loss. We just got to wait for this this little algo switch to resolve. I will only call paper trading potato trading. Will not accept any other nomenclature. Okay, well, you do you. Beast Mode says, so on SPX, you pay high premiums. For me, I go far out of the money, like 50 plus. Yeah, you can. I mean, it depends. It's the exchange, right? So the value is like 5,800 to like 6,000 anyway. So it's pretty expensive. And the farther you go out, the lower your probability is of making a profit on those contracts, especially because of how far the IV is and how far the theta has to bring the price to bring it back down to zero. So it's a little bit more aggressive. So going super far out gets you in, but it's not always healthy contracts, So for this one, max risk would be like $100, and I'm only kind of allowing that because this account was supposed to be reset, and I couldn't reset it through withdrawal. So I have to just kind of, whittle it down or make a ton of profit and just accept that it wasn't trimmed. So it's up to you guys, but I'm down as long as that risk is capped. Here's a little heartbeat. I like that. You guys see that? Little boop, 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 boop. This is what we like. No, it's a small account, but this is like half of this account because it's so small. All right, so this is officially broken. So now we're just going to continue to wait, and we should see our run up here pretty soon. So let me just pop over to SPX. All right, so looks like we're having a little bit of a bearish day so far. So I got about 6 more minutes before I can even look at this one. Yes, and that's if it gives us a trade. Yesterday it didn't give us a high quality trade. Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Let me think. Well, what am I thinking of? Am I thinking of a different one? Let me just check real quick. Yeah, give us this one, but meh. And then this one was okay, right? No, I didn't live trade yesterday. I did the morning trade in Lifetime with Mule was in there. We hung out and we looked at stuff. He watched me do my trades yesterday, but I didn't have a free or premium live trade. But I was watching SPX, and I was walking Roland through the strategy I'm trying to teach him in premium. So the basic theory is that, and then that, right? And then we go to the 1 minute, and then we've got nothing there. Nothing there. That guy. Nice tiny risk. And then 1 to whatever risk reward, right? And then we've got this guy nothing, this guy nothing, this guy something, right? That's always how we do it. Okay. And anyone who's been in premium and anyone who's been in lifetime can supplement that. That's what I've been teaching. It's a 3-step process. And those are the only opportunities I see. So let's go ahead and pop back over to SCNI. And we'll zoom back in so it looks much more dramatic. We'll do this. Let me just let me make it scary for you guys. Bam, bam, bam. If it shoots down really fast anyway. I'm just kidding. I'll zoom out. We're just continuing to wait. There's still a little bit of bearishness, right? Because this bearish impulse here ending, the cycle breaking right here on this candle, and then an immediate pull down to new low, it just means it's still a little bit bearish. So we got to kind of wait for that to fall off. And then we'll just see where it pulls down to. Porter says no ETFs, but we got LW. I'm more interested in the ticker MOO though. So you don't like Lamb Weston, you like okay. Interesting. So what is the high on this guy? What is this? This is 534, 535. Okay. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then a 4 forming. So I'm just going to make this line dashed and we'll just hang out. So unfortunately, like this is part of like trading, is just watching paint dry. Especially on like these market open ones. So we'll just have to hang out. So in another 2.5 minutes though, we can start to plot out our SPX, right? And then it's going to be a little bit, right? Because we got a window that we can trade within. So we'll go ahead and see what happens there. Let me take a look here. I kind of like what this one's doing. I'm just kind of watching the percentages here. But I don't like chasing this one. I'd like to see it pull back. But this one is it's got good volume on it. And I really don't want to add more to this one. But at this point, I usually do. I really want to do the SPX. We'll see. But if I did, it'd be somewhere pretty soon because this is getting into that nice fat retracement zone. So if I draw that, you guys can see that. Like we're touching the 50 perfectly so far. So somewhere around this box or out of the box specifically is where I'd grab that. But there's no pressure. So we're just kind of hanging out. Got another minute and 15 seconds before I can go over to SPX and kind of plot that one out. So we'll just wait and see what that one does. What do I think about the new ETF IVES? I haven't really looked at that one. What's the, why don't you break it down for me? Is it on here yet? Is it on Webull? Bush. What's the breakdown of it? It doesn't have one. All right. AI infrastructure with SEC. Oh, it's that one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nah. Not really into AI ETFs just yet. I think the private sector still has a huge advantage. And, I think at this point, you're probably just looking at pull down, right? Because it popped, it's got its run, it's got its headline. What reason is there for people to continue to hold this? And what are they uniquely offering that I can't get somewhere else for cheaper with a more reliable price structure, Sorry, guys, I got that mesothelioma every day. Every day I got mesothelioma. All right. Okay, cool. So it's 9:45. So now we got our thing, right? So let me just erase that. We got our 15-minute range. Oh my Lord, that's a huge one. All right. Let me just go and make that blue. And then for this one, we just come down here to the 5-minute. And now we wait. We got to wait. So every 5 minutes I check back, right? Until I get something that I like. And then after that, then I look for my entry with a super tight risk and a color change ideally before 11 a.m. Right? Because I don't want to go too far into the morning, because then the IV falls off really fast and the beta kind of ramps up throughout the morning. So let me also pull up the options chain here. Looks like we're probably going to be looking at puts today since we're about to break out through the bottom. And we'll just wait. You just got to be patient with this stuff. This is good. I like seeing this this kind of strength at the downside, because that increases the likelihood that this candle is going to close down here, right? And that's kind of what I want. I want the price to close outside this box, and then I can look for a retest and then take a low risk confirmation to the downside. There's a child screaming outside. It's hilarious. And then, of course, we're just kind of waiting for SCNI to pop back up as well. If it does. What is patience? I don't know if you've seen the show Ghosts. It's about a bunch of people that have died historically in a house. It's a comedy. And one of the characters on there is a person named Patience. It's kind of funny. It's one of those weird shows, but it's funny. Terrible. What's up, Porter? How you doing? Thinking here. So I might add a little bit more to SCNI. You know, we're down pretty far here, and we're still waiting on SPY. So I might have to take a smaller contract here on SPX. I didn't mean to say SPY. I meant SPX. But I'm not. I still like SCNI, and you know, I don't necessarily have to micromanage it, but I'm letting it breathe in both directions. And if I like a discount, you know, down here, I might add a little bit more, but I don't want to add the rest of the, you know, the rest of the buying power to it, right? Because that's high risk, right? So I don't want to elevate my risk. What I can do though is wait another 2 minutes for this candle to close, and then we can look for a low risk entry to the downside on a reject of this. Please follow your risk management plan. Don't ever blindly copy me, guys. I do this every day. I am perfectly willing to bail myself out, but if that's not your approach, I don't want you guys to do that, right? That's why I'm doing this in front of you guys, so you guys can see, like, I'm not freaking out right now. I'm not panicking. I'm not, you know, compromising on stuff. This is still a valid setup. I'm just watching the order book, Tammy. We're just in a retrace and stuff, so I'm still okay with it, but I don't want anyone to blindly hold it if you can't justify it for yourself, right? So we're around the area. That's why I was saying I might consider adding a little bit. But it's still, like, it's just showing bearishness, right? It's just people taking profits. So we're at that healthy point. Or I should say we're getting to the healthy point. And I could just draw, you know, or a box. I can't talk today. I just draw a box right there, and then we could just add on the way back out of that box, right? But in 47 seconds, we also get our SPX candle close. So then I can look for a retest on that one. And let me just go ahead and draw that. Come back to the 5 minute here. So, all right, so if this candle closes outside this box, then I can start looking for that rejection. I don't know why I said that like that. And that's what I like. So another 25 seconds or so. That's an ugly candle on Tesla. Yeah. Yeah, Tesla's having I'm sure it's having a bit of a morning here. That's why you can't chase that stuff. Like, that's clean downtrend, and then it accelerated. So I wonder how many people tried to grab calls on that one. All right, about 5 seconds here. And then what I'm going to do is draw a vertical line and put it right back on the right thing. And now we can start to look for rejection. So I can start to look for a contract here on SPX. And I'm thinking maybe let me see here. I really like the 58.75, but I might have to settle for the 58.70 depending on what the prices are when it comes back down. And I also don't want this price to go too far up into this box, because if it does, I'll have to wait for another candle close to come to the downside. So I don't want to have too much craziness. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw some lines. And then every minute I can just move the line up, and then we can look for a put opportunity if it's appropriate. And let me move this over here. I keep moving the stuff like all the way to the left because I like to see that open space on the right. But then I keep remembering that the camera is on the recording and it's covering it. So, all right, there we go. This is good. I like this. So now this is a lot of strength on Tesla or SPX here. So we'll see what we can get. So I got to move this down here. I'm going to try to grab the, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get in. All right, cool. So I got the, I got the 58.75 and I grabbed one contract and I got filled at $1. So we'll see what that gives us. And that's all I care about, right? Yeah, it's a 0 day. I'm trading super high risk. So keep that in mind. If you're going to trade that, please don't just commit everything you have to that. I'm taking elevated risks on this account. I'm putting half of it into an SPX trade, and I'm putting half of it into a low float garbage stock at market open. So keep that in mind, and don't hurt yourselves. Yeah, my man. These are still calculated risks, and this is like, this specifically is just surplus money because I just didn't get to trim. But you know, if you can manage that risk and you can remain resilient, 58.75 put 0 day. Yep. Then you can have, you know, some of the more aggressive returns, and that's how you can turn $50 into $3,000 safely, right? Because I had losses in that too. The trick is to not let the losses destroy your psyche, right? Because then that's your ego, and that's not good. So let me drink some juice here. This stream is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. Not officially, but if you're a Dr. Pepper CEO and you happen to be watching my live stream, have your people call my people. All right, Star Zone, take care of yourself. I'm going to keep holding my, I'll update, you know, what I do with my SCNI, and we'll go from there. And what I would like to see on SPX here is a break of this, because that can lead to a pretty nasty move to the downside. So just kick this up to the 10-minute. You guys can see we got plenty of potential here. 10 in the morning for you, maybe. I'm just gonna, like, my clock is right here in the corner of the screen. Listen. And then, of course, what I don't want is for the market to kind of whip back around and shoot to the upside, which is why I have a fixed stop loss right there. And if it comes up there and breaks that and I get out and then it runs to the downside after that, that's okay. I just maybe take a little bit of a spanking for the day and I move on, right? What I don't want to do is be holding it up here, right? And then sell it and then have it push down and then blame myself, right? Because once you start beating yourself up and blaming yourself, you know, you're kind of denying the fact that you're human and that you can only make choices based on the information you have at the time. And that's not fun. That's not productive. So we just got to do what we can do. So let me just peek back at SCNI. It looks like it hasn't really moved much. So we're just kind of waiting for that curl and then a bigger pop. And I'm just going to swing back over to SPX. We'll just kind of have these two. We'll bounce back and forth a little bit. And we'll, SPX, realistically, I'm looking for a bigger move like that. Just a sharp run to the downside. Oh, Bryce just put out puts also. That's funny. Let me go take a look. So he actually got a higher strike. Oh, yeah, look at that. Okay. I'll take that as a sign of confluence then. I don't know if he plans to add more, but I don't. He had earlier puts, but it stopped and then ran. Yeah, that's what happens. You know, it's kind of one of those days in the market. I can already sorry. You know, we saw it before market open, right? Things were just kind of meandering a little bit. That's where, you know, I'm confident in SCNI because of what I see in the order book. It's not so much what the individual candles are doing, it's the overall. So it's just a matter of kind of having a little bit of conviction, but also some common sense, you know. So he did the right thing by stopping out, you know, and then the end result, you that's confirmation bias. So if you stop out and then something does what you wanted it to do, that's just your brain like punishing you so that you do better next time. And that's not something you can rely on, Was I about to predict? Where? Porter, you got to answer me. Were you talking to me or to Kak? Oh, you stopped out. Okay. Did he stop out? All right, there's our new low of the day, and we're doing okay so far. Now, at this point, we're in range for a potential liquidity sweep, which I don't really see happening on, a potential like this. I mean, but there's going to be people that are going to try to jump into that. And when I say people, I mean institutions. They're going to want to try to make it look like that so they can get people to buy in. But I'm going to keep holding because we have the justification for a bearish continuation here. Oh, yeah, no. Today is definitely a weird day in the market. Like Limp Bizkit would say. It's just one of those days. So we just got to hang out. So this zone right here, this low a day, that's going to kind of be a little bit of a cushion. There's going to be some push-pull, or there should be, I should say. But I really don't think it's going to last very long. Based on everything I'm seeing so far, we should, in theory, just slam to the downside pretty hard. So we'll just kind of hang out and watch the money tree grow. What is going on with quantum computing stocks? So a lot of that is it's a lot of speculation and a lot of anticipation. I don't personally think quantum computing is where it needs to be because the demand for it is pretty suppressed because there's better alternatives in place today. Oh, what's up, Adrian? How you doing? Also on YouTube and X, we got Man11. How's NVIDIA going to go? Oh, you tell me. We got some tools we can use, but it looks like everything is pretty bearish this morning as far as tech and sectors go. You would have had one opportunity right here. If you grab that to the downside, similar to SPX, we're just doing the same thing. Sorry, let me just move that over here. Also, I'm sorry, I just realized that was on the left side of the screen. So this box right here, this yellow box, Manny, that would have been the entry if you use that strategy. Let me move it over here so the camera doesn't conceal it. That is, it would just be a bearish, it would be a put to the downside. All right, so in SPX, we're still just kind of hanging out. I'm still seeing a lot of bearishness. I still like it. We just got to wait and make sure it continues to go that way. Let me just catch up on the chat here. All good too. Jumped off a work call and managed to grab a couple puts. So very happy. Oh, cool. Did you get the SPX ones or something different like Tesla or NVIDIA? What exit number? J5, I'm not going to set a target. I'll probably lock this contract if it gets like 50% or so, but I'm not going to use a price point because that doesn't, I kind of take a unique approach to the market in that I don't subscribe to structural prediction, if that makes sense. There's a time and a place for it, but ultimately I let the chart kind of tell me what to do. Price points at the end of the day don't really matter. It's kind of a weird, I know it's like a controversial thing to say, but you just gotta stick around. You'll see. I like to do this little parlor trick where I let you guys pick a random ticker and a price point, and then I just show you guys the disproportionate risk reward outperforms prediction. And that tends to go pretty well. In my opinion, what is a better alternative to quantum computing? No, quantum computing is still good, but the demand for it was much higher initially with AI because of the belief that it was needed for AI. So now there's just different technologies in place that don't like AI is becoming more accessible basically, and there's just not there's no exclusion to it, right? So unless you're trying to do something like insane, which very few entities on this planet are actually in position to do, you don't really need quantum computing, right? You just need more pooling, right? So it's just it's a resource game. So quantum computing is solid, and it does have applications, but the need for it isn't as scalable as a lot of these companies are portraying. And that's why a lot of them are struggling, and that's why a lot of the market attention that initially jumped into them kind of ebbed out, and that's why a lot of those companies are not doing so hot. So maybe 5-10 years, absolutely, but right now, not so much. Yeah, no problem. That's a good question. John Zadar on X says, I've been writing a call on the QQQs, but see downside for sure. Okay. Let's take a look at the Qs. Same thing, right? It's the same basic pattern. Not sure if he's referring to a long-term, I'm assuming long-term call, which kind of makes sense on the Qs. But yeah, it's there's a lot of potential in a day like today for some pretty aggressive pullback. But we'll see. We shall see. Yeah, that is Stock Wizard. He's on. Oh, he's trading a 0-day. Oh, wow. Okay. So you grabbed a Q call. Was it back? Was it back around 940-ish or 949? Or maybe you just got in a little bit ago. I think we're about to see another pretty sharp spike to the downside here in a little bit. Potentially, right? We can't guarantee anything ever, but we are having lower highs, lower lows, and I think as soon as this candle here gives up, I think we got another potential for a new low. I'm also just going to move this level down, and we'll just kind of hang out and see where that goes. Boom! That was a good chop. I like that. Let's watch that. So that's a good sign. That means that they're stepping back in with some aggression, short term at least, right? Now that should, when you see that, the goal there is to make sure that that action prompts a lot of the momentum algos to jump in, because it's got to cover either an amount of volume or amount of price range within a certain period of time. It's usually a very small period of time. And with SPX, you can't monitor volume because there's no shares. It's not like it's an exchange, right? So you only have the European style contracts. So algos that monitor SPX have to use the price range. And when there's like a 3-second window where it's monitoring and it jumps down like 0.02%, which is pretty significant for a stock this size, or 0.04%, then that is usually enough to say, oh, it's worth paying attention to. And then they do a quick analysis and then either take an action plus or minus, right? So we can't keep up with that. Well, there's no way we can compete as humans. So what we can do is we can paint the broad strokes, and we can look for little indications like that to kind of get ahead of those bigger moves, or at least wait for them to start happening by focusing on them when we see those moves. And then that's when we can, we can start to hone in on our position. So it's a little bit more advanced. You kind of have to understand how the algos work and their signatures. Like this right here is a hedgy signature. This should have pushed up beyond this level. But instead we got a massive, and when I say massive, it's pretty small in the grand scheme of things, but we got a pretty sharp pull down instead of that bounce, right? That's why I continue to hold that one, because that should have just pushed up at that point. So now this is acting as a resistance so far. Let me just make that a orange line there. It's not to say it's going to continue to be a resistance, but it has so far, right? Need that Elon chip install? Yeah, I'll get a Neuralink. I'll get it on Livestream for you guys. It'll be fun. I think I'd probably get that stream taken down, though. I think that would be a little bit gory. RBY pulled back. Yeah, I believe it. A lot of these low float guys, like especially on mornings like this where it's just kind of bleh, like a lot of times these just kind of fall down. So this has got a 5 candle setup on it, so we could draw a line, right? But this risk range would be too big. This is a lot more tolerable as long as it doesn't continue to sell. So it's just a matter of waiting at this point. ZENA, that's okay. That's got nothing to it. This is just way too low float. Oh, wow. That's I was really expecting a much lower float on that one. That's crazy. SCNI is still just kind of puttering. It's doing a little bit of bleh. Don't really like that so much. But it's okay. We're still hanging out. SPX is pulling up a little bit, but that's okay. We'll see how it goes. I just don't want to hold this too long because then theta will it'll work against us. So I got this 11 o'clock mark right here. So I'm actually okay to hold this one a lot longer. But I really don't want that theta to kick in. So we'll see how that goes. Kind of getting my butt kicked a little bit this morning. But it's good demonstration. And we can always make it back. We just have to, we just got to stay the course here and let the chart tell us what to do. Does anybody have any questions so far? Or what are you guys looking at for the morning? ZENA, okay. So this one is, it's pretty shiny. I kind of like that one. I don't like that the volume is kind of fallen off though, right? Like if this volume picks back up, this has a lot of potential. What kind of behavior does it have? Ooh. Yeah, so something like this, you just got to be careful of. You see how it's got 7.39 free float, and then it's got 3.5 times in restricted or outstanding total. So it's got about 3 times restricted. So you just got to be careful with that because a lot of these guys will do splits at that point. So if they're let's say it's a like biotech specifically, they're notorious for this. They'll let the price run up. They'll do like a promotional, like a PR campaign. They'll release a catalyst, and then they'll drive the price up, and then they'll do a split or an offering, and then that dilutes the price and all that good stuff. So anytime there's a disproportionate amount of restricted shares, we got to be careful. So just getting in and out on stuff like this is ideal. Looks like that volume came back in. That's good. You just got to be really, really careful with those is all. You have a stop loss. That's good. Good stuff. And you also want to be mindful of halts. There's the LUDP halts. It's very, very good to be mindful of how they work as well, so you can get out right before it triggers, so that way you don't get stuck, because that doesn't feel good. Let me keep an eye over here on SPX, or not that SPX. I said. Looks like we get a little bit of some gap action here, so let's see what's going on there. So I was watching the value of the contracts there, and it went from like 25 to 12 in a couple of seconds. So, and then we see this little doji. So I'm kind of interested to see what that's going to do here. There's going to be a lot of FOMO traders, a lot of euphoric traders that want to get in on this. And that's a little bit, it's going to cause a little bit of chaos, right? So ultimately it's better for us, because when we get that sell off, it should be much, much harder. But it might take a little bit longer to get there, because all these smaller banks and all these smaller institutions are just going to keep throwing money at this, hoping that it goes back up. And it looks like they're just being absorbed and suppressed. So we'll just wait and see if that gives us our bigger, like trend is friend at this point, right? Like we've got much more potential to the downside here. It's just a matter of making sure that the bearish institutions that are controlling the price or have control are able to hold this resistance. And it looks like it's all just relatively weaker volume coming in, just to kind of have a little bit of a little breathe in, right? That's all it's doing. It's just a little relief breath. And you can see the price is much higher up here, and these contracts are already back to zero or turning green. And down here, those contracts were only a little bit green. So the fact that it's up here and higher means that there's automatically more built up value. So this is loaded more on the put side now. So that tells me that I'm in the right side of this. So I'm just going to keep waiting. Chinga, but I can't predict the halts, right? You can't really predict them, but you can develop your rough ranges based on the rules that trigger those. So you're looking at circuit breaker halts, LUDP, and that is based on the range of the price of a stock on the previous trading session, as well as the amount of volatility in either price action or volume during the current trading session, unless it's adjusted manually by the exchange. So by default, yes, you can. But once they adjust it, you don't know what that is. So after they adjust it to like I don't know, 18% threshold. You're never going to know that until the next halt happens. Then you can scramble and do some fast math and try to figure out what the new range is. But at that point, it's usually worth it to just kind of walk away. So the first halt, yes. Subsequent halts, no. But that first one is going to depend on the price from yesterday's close. Yeah, there's a lot of, it's an automated process, so you just got to learn the rules for it. There's 3 different tiers. So usually it's like a 10% move within a 10-minute period of time or something like that. Sad Boy Slim in Americall off a nice reversal candle, but got a bad entry price. Thanks, WB. Is that Weeble? You blaming Weeble or something else? Warren Buffett. Weeble. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I like Mara. I like that one for speculation. I don't like it for a long-term hold, obviously, but it's good for just getting in and out and getting the impulses. You never get on mid-buy. I just use last, honestly, because if you're trading options contracts specifically and it's less liquid, you're going to want to usually just chase whatever last price got filled. And if you miss it, that's okay. You just place your order and then just let it go. But if you try to force that, you know, you're just going to keep chasing mids or anything like that. So the last one, I know that there's at least one order that just got filled at that price. So there should be more in most cases. Yeah, market buy is always in the negative. Yeah. It can be rough sometimes because you always get filled at the ask, and that ask is going to keep moving. So at this point, we're just kind of watching paint dry. We're letting things play out, and we've got conviction for these 2 trades, but we're not going to be foolish about it. John Zadar on X. Yeah, he got it on the cusp. Okay, so his 0 day. Okay, well, hopefully that works out. You know, just make sure you have a plan in place just in case. We don't want to hurt ourselves on a Thursday, right? Fingers crossed we get a lower low on this 15-minute candle. Well, you know, we can have our hopes, but that's ultimately not going to matter, right? Here's just playing out so far. Good. Sorry, my screen's all weird on my computer. Hopefully it doesn't mess up in the broadcasts. Can you guys still see my screen on? That's so weird. I'm seeing like lines just flashing. It's not my monitor, but something's weird on my screen. All good? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. That's weird. Maybe I should record that with my phone. It's almost like a ghost image of the candles. Like as I just scroll to the left, it's like it's showing like an alternate print of them. It's so weird. Might be my monitor. I don't know. Yeah, Heiken-Ashi candles. Those are good. I like those. That's good for just getting a general sense of direction. And you can also, since they plot the highs and lows, like the wicks are still accurate, just not the open and close of the candle because those are averaged. But the highs and lows are really good for things like the 5 candle. And then you just catch those reversals nice and clean. John Zadar, QQQ, lots of volatility. Can usually count on those big whips and bounces at some point. Pain tolerance has to be high. Yeah, at times. It can be, yeah. I mean, I think if you're going to trade any naked contract, you should have a high risk tolerance and you shouldn't be on a big position. So again, I am, because I have a more experienced skill set and I have a higher risk tolerance. And I know that, you know, I have a defined cutoff and that I can just build the money back and stuff. I'm also in control of my emotions, and that's the most important part. But if you're a new trader and you got $100 and you're throwing it all into, you know, a high risk 0 day, you're going to have a bad time. So that's why I don't want anyone to like chase any of that stuff. And you guys can see I'm spending a little bit of time here in the red, and that would probably destroy someone's discipline if they were a newer trader. So I don't want you guys to put yourselves in that position. We're just having a nice, relaxed, casual day. We don't want this to be an abusive relationship. So it's okay. This is my one cheat day a week, right? So I'm okay taking a bit of a slam on this. And, you know, if I take if I deviate from my plan, right? Like if I let this go all the way to a 0%, then that is also part of my plan. Like I have a 2-week timeout on that I forced myself to do. So far we're still in the plan and I'm okay with it. Exactly, Neil, my cheat day. But that's also what allows me to get the more aggressive returns. And if I wanted to be a true stickler for my risk management, I would have just cut this at 15% profit and been done with it, right? But I like a little bit more. I like cheat day. That's good. Plus, you guys like seeing the high risk stuff, right? I just wish my throat wasn't so scratchy. It's kind of annoying, and I'm trying not to like clear my throat all day because I know it's annoying for you guys. All right, so you know, this should have blasted to the upside, right? Where this is the hedgy signature right here, this box. You know, we should have that right there was the retest, right? We should have blasted at that point, but we did not, right? We didn't blast over here. We didn't blast over here. You know, this is a successful failure in that case. So I'm still confident in my put. It's just a matter of figuring out whether or not they want to just burn contracts until around 11 or if we're okay to get that move ahead of time. So I'm going to just zoom out a little bit, just move it over here so it looks a little bit less scary. And we'll just wait. Oh, one thing I do want to do is I want to kick up my order entry here, and I just want to make sure that I've got this order available because SPX can move very, very fast, and this could very easily get up to like 600%, and then it can just drop down to like 200%. So I got to be mindful that when it's time to hit the button, I hit the button. I don't want to have this, you know, slow down, reverse, and go against me like Missy Elliott, you know, or however she says it. So we're just going to hang out. And we're getting, again, just a little bit more aggression to the downside. We just got to outperform the bullishness here. So if we were to compare like the RSI, let me just add the RSI really quick and I'll show you guys. We'll set this to, we'll set that to about 25, right? Oh, we'll use 24, right? We'll pop the 24 on, right? We're still below that 50 RSI. It's 43.81. So there's still more bearishness in the candles. And, you know, we're just following the trend. We're going with the trend. Yes, it's breathing a little bit to the upside, but the favor is still to the downside. The bears are still in control for now, right? So if I were to zoom out, we push down with some aggression. We got a little bit of chop, and then, you know, we should, in theory, continue pushing to the downside. If I go up to the higher time frame, we just had a little pullback. It's okay. And then the favor should still be to the downside. So I don't want anyone to just look at the 1 minute and panic and all that stuff, because that's not good for your mental health. So I'm still pretty confident here. We're just waiting. Unfortunately, we got to wait. Actually, I'm going to erase all this stuff. Let me just erase all these lines over here. I will keep this one, and I'm just going to make it orange just to keep things nice and clean so we don't have a million lines all over the chart. And I see that Snowflake is in here. He only likes the one line, so we're just going to use that. 15-minute, yeah, we're getting that H-shaped continuation set up. I like it. So if I go down to like the 5-minute, you can probably see it a little bit clearer. Actually, yeah, let me use Heiken Ashi here. You'll probably see it a lot clearer on that. Well, maybe not. Maybe we could get back to the 1 minute, 2 minute. I'm just looking for the right. I guess, yeah, I mean, that kind of works, right? You see it a little bit more clearly this way. We're just looking for that, then that, and then that, right? So now it's just a matter of that actually coming to fruition, right? Let me just kick it back to the 1 minute here, and I'll just zoom out and scroll it back, and then I'll stop messing with the chart. I keep moving stuff around on you guys. So yeah, we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now. We just got to watch the paint dry. Unfortunately, we got about 40 minutes or so before 11 o'clock. And that's probably going to be my hard cutoff just in case. So that way we don't let the IV theta changeover happen. So, yeah, so we're just kind of hanging out. SCNI still just kind of chilling in the box. It's just kind of slowly meandering down. And that's also just waiting in the volume to come back in. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's okay. I'm good either way on that one. Same with SPX, right? So again, this is my kind of cheat day. So we're just going to let it do what it wants to do. And then if we end up taking a spanking on it, I'll just make it back. That's all good. So we just I don't know if you guys saw that. You guys are free to watch that on the recording. We saw a little bit of a chop to the upside here. This type of candle that just formed, this little chop to the upside, that's a pretty good precursor in most cases to a harder sell-off. So we'll see if that actually happens or if it just wants to blast. But those two chops were definitely out of place. So this tells me this is mostly a FOMO candle or a compulsion candle, right? They're trying to induce a stronger move to the upside. So we'll see if that whole candle just gets consumed here in a little bit or if it's going to kind of meander to the upside. So let me just draw a vertical line. Actually, you know what? I'll draw a box right here. We like boxes. So now in theory, this candle should just get completely destroyed. So I'll just leave that right over there. I'm also going to turn this color. I'll make it like a dark blue so we can see it a little more clearly. And we'll just sit back. Oh, J-Wag, you can't hear me? It's Pookie talking right now. Uh-oh. You guys can't hear me? Ugh. That's terrible. I hate Discord. All right. Let me restart. Sorry, Tammy. I'm going to have to restart my Discord. That's where I'll be right back, guys. All right. Can you guys hear me now? Let me open the chat. Okay. Ooh, we're back. All right. That's good. Sorry about that. Can you guys see my screen? Can you hear me and see me? Okay. Yeah, it's doing a little thing, and that's I'm not too happy about that, but it is what it is. I have an accent. What kind of accent? Is it a Kiwi accent? Oh no. It's been a while since I've been accused of that. Yeah, so unfortunately, SPX is kind of doing the opposite. So we might be cutting this one here. But, you know, it's the setup's still there. So I'll see how it plays out. No worries, mate. You got to use the M8. Can't do that with the M8. Had to take a call. Okay, well, yeah, no, we're kind of getting spanked on that. And that's okay. This just kind of shows you why it's not ideal to maintain risk and all that good stuff. You guys can see it's a pretty big spanking on a small account. But that's okay, right? That's the whole point of you know, the non-cheat days where we keep that discipline nice and locked in. And we got this account up, what, like 16.5% in like 3 days. So I'm not worried at all about building this back. This is kind of my excitement day. So we'll see how it goes. I think just SCNI is just probably dead. I don't think it's weird because the order book still shows what I see. Like it still shows the stack. But I don't think it's got the volume to just move back up. So maybe later it might pull back up, but I don't, it just died, right? So it's kind of a weird, just one of those weird days, and that's okay. I'm interested in what SPX is doing here though, because that, that double chop candle there, that was super out of place. So I'm actually interested to see what happens once this stops. So I'm just going to draw a line here. Oh, that guy. And then we'll just follow that one up. So at this point, it's just more interesting, right? So I can always make the money back. It's all fun. We'll just kind of I'm more intrigued to see what this does once that bullish impulse stops. Because this right here is artificial. It just screams. Oh, where's that? Okay, it's on the wick there. That just screams like set up and trap. So I don't know what's going on there, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What else is running today? TGE. This is that got halted. Ooh, scaly. Is Powell talking today? Oh, this is beautiful. I love this setup. So this is one that we would rinse repeat for like super tight risk profits. Just getting in like right here. Watch this. I'll show you guys in real time. This is how we trade every other day of the week, not when we're trading SPX. Super, super tight. 1 to 3 risk reward. So in that case, here we go. You just have to do that. So I'll have to kind of zoom in a little bit and move it over. And like that's the kind of risk that you'd want to keep. It's just like 1%. And then like a 1 to 3 multiple for your profit. And that's kind of how you have to trade the low float stuff, which is kind of what I was expecting to happen on SCNI, but it just didn't. It didn't get that volume yet. But this is how we normally trade. You guys that have been on the other streams see that. So we'll see. There we go. Boom, you'd be out. Done. Right? That's the whole shebang. You just do that 252 times in a year and you got 6 figures, right? That's the plan. But you know, we're okay to have little setbacks here and there with these higher risk fellas. It's good for the archives. Ooh, we're getting spicy over here on SPX. Here we got about 30 seconds left on this candle. Let's see if it can hold up. And to the upside, this is good too. Like, look at how small this risk range is. So if I were to draw a long position tool, you know, this is my bread and butter, just those small, super low risk, high potential opportunities. Now you wouldn't have access to this information, but you would have access to the fact that this was, you know, trend line and all that good stuff. And you got a low risk opportunity there, but it's not what we're doing today. We're doing the more aggressive shots. I don't think he's talking. Let me check the Fed calendar, actually, now that you're mentioning that. I don't think there's anything crazy going on today. Just the jobless claims. Now for earnings, we do have Broadcom and DocuSign and Lululemon. But those are the only 3 that I like for today. Mostly just Broadcom and DocuSign. So AVGO and DOCU. Those are going to be at market, well, after market close. But those are the only 2 that I see that I like. Tasty. Oh, also, let me start filling this thing out. Sorry. So many things I have to click. So I'm just going to let these continue to cook. I got to do something in my other window really fast here. You guys keep doing what you got to do. Go ahead and grab the link there. All right, there's that. Sorry, I got to click all the things, guys. That is Thursday. Is it 9:14? Okay, no, and no. There we go. Oh, we get this account back to 100. Sweet. SSK Ether 69 is typing. What's going on, buddy? Y'all tune in on mobile devices or desktop computers? That's a good question. I think last I saw, we get some server insights on Discord. And the YouTube, I think, also tells us. I think most people are on computers. But when it comes to like our shorts and stuff, that's mostly phones. So the live streams is I think it's like 86% or something on computers. Some number around there, I think. Yeah, laptop for Tammy. Just kick this up here to the 5 minute. Trade on phone, even sitting in front of computers. Yeah, I can't trade on my phone. I'll have a really hard time because my phone's a piece of garbage. What's this one doing? We're starting to get a little bit of a curl here. So I'm going to erase this box here as well. So maybe that one's getting ready. Maybe. Depends. Could just be a little short-term pullback. I'm surprised. Like this little pullback here, this does not fit. I'm very interested to know what happens with that. Like this whole range. Now that I'm just going to expand it now that it's starting to pull back down. I'm very curious to see what happens with this giant range right here. What's Hoth look like? We like Hoth for the little spikes. We don't really like it long term. Looks like it's still back in that same channel. You know, we plotted that many moons ago. Pull up the 1 hour maybe. You know, just it's in this channel that it likes. It's been in here a bunch too. I mean, if I scroll back to the left here, you can see it's got a pretty good history of just hanging out in this box. I don't really like it on oops, I think I just moved those boxes. Oh well. It's good for chop, you know, just catching like tighter ranges, like 20-30 cent ranges. But it's pretty sketchy in most cases for anything long term. What do you like about it? I only like it when there's volume. Like it's got to have disproportionate volume for the day. Oh, excuse me. There we go. So I'm, like I said, this whole box right here just doesn't quite fit. So I'm curious to see what, like if all those people get trapped, like if that was literally just an inducement play, then we're looking at something like this for our target range down here. Right? Because all those people are going to panic. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. Like it has to happen before the theta ramps up, and it has to happen to the point where the IV can scale up. So let me check my cash here. Yeah, I don't have anything else. And that's okay. Like it has to go much farther now because the contracts are so in the red. But we'll have a good measurement when it gets back to around here to see about how far that's happened, right? Because remember back here it was like, I guess back here it was like -1 or something, or -8 to 12, I think was here. This was about -20. So if this price gets back here, right, we'll be above or below that 20, and then we'll know, we'll be able to identify that gap. Does that make sense? But it has to keep pushing. It has to be violent, and it's got to be strong enough that that, you know, A, the panic sellers sell, and B, more aggressive bears push in because all those people are trapped, right? And for that to happen, we've got to break below this box and outside of this hedgy signature zone right there. So it's just got to slam right through that box, and that's we got potential. Right? Again, I have pretty high conviction in this bearish play, but it all depends on it actually happening. You know, like I can't force that. I can identify the potential, but I can't make it happen on my own. You know, that's not how the market works, unfortunately. I'm not that important. I've come to terms with it. But this is the kind of bearish strength that I was kind of seeing, right? Like we had all of these candles to the upside, and then 2/3 of that got wiped out in one candle, or like half of it, right? Shouldn't say 2/3. That's a little bit hyperbolic. So this is just kind of a breath and then an exhale from what I'm seeing. But again, I didn't want to add anything to these positions. You know, ordinarily I would probably add to it and then lower that cost basis. And big violence, please. Yeah, we like violence in this house. Are you in, Debo? You sound like you're in. Did you trade a contract, buddy? If so, does it fit your risk tolerance? Si, senor. Okay. I sense the presence of a mariachi. Is it does it line up with what you are okay allocating to a play like that, given that it's a SPX 0-day? And how are you like emotionally during this? Boom, there we go. That's what I like. So that's a stop loss raid right there. I'm gonna come back over here. Okay, so we were around, what was that, like 18% around here? So we're about equal, right? We're about where we were. Then we got back here, it was around 5, whereas before it was 8. So we're actually ahead of the curve. So there's more puts on this, or there's more pressure on the puts. So that's good. That means that, you know, if we do break this low here and it doesn't just bounce back up and go to a new high, we should have a much bigger profit, right? So the more push pull we get, the bigger our profit gets at the end. Debo says, I pretty much only traded SPY scalps, so fairly used to this, but first time trying. Okay, that's good stuff. Chinga, SPX 0-day, that just means that it's SPX, which is the S&P 500 index, not SPY. SPY is an ETF. And then 0-day just means that the length of the contract that we're trading has 0 days till expiration. So it expires at the end of the day, which means that it's a high risk, high reward situation. There's a lot more volume in those contracts, but also theta, which is time decay, that has a lot more work to do to get it back down to 0 by the end of the day. So the theta is kind of high, which means they decay really fast. So that's a little FOMO bounce right there. So we'll see if that was enough to, to actually combat that and get a reversal, or if it's just going to keep slamming back down. I mean, that's a lot of bearish strength. That's kind of insane. I like it. So let me just kick it up to like 3 minutes so we can keep an eye on that. But that's what I was talking about with that box. Like that whole range just didn't make sense. And then we saw it just slam to the downside. It's just out of place. Like the double chop signature on that, just, it was so out of place. Like even this just doesn't make any sense. So I'm curious as to why there's all this volume all of a sudden, you know, and disproportionate fills. Like these are, like it's weird that the spread on those contracts is that volatile. You know what I mean? Like even this contract, it's got a 20% spread on it. It's 40 and 50. It's 10. Or 25. Yeah, I'd say 20. So I think we're probably going to see some pretty nasty violence one way or the other on this. So strap in, guys. You're 10 cents away from your Ameriprice exit. Okay. Are you scaling out, or are you a single contract? It wants it. It wants it, precious. All right, so we're back up at the top of the range here on SPX. So we'll just kind of see where that goes. Kind of sucks when things do like the back and forth like this, when we're just waiting for one clean trade. Because normally on my, you guys see, normally on my my streams, I'm just like bloop bloop in and out. Yeah, so these are kind of bleh. So I don't want anyone to like feel stressed watching this. I'm definitely not. I just want you guys to see some conviction there. Just entered 2 positions yesterday. Are you talking about Mara or something different, Porter? Mara, okay. Has good stuff. Get 2 contracts. Very good, very good. And you're trading the call side, you said, right? You sold one and now one at break even. Good stuff, good stuff. I like it. So the fact that this is like stagnant right here is curious, because this should be pushing strongly in one direction or the other, right? We've got a double top setup. Seeing the ebb and volume is crazy, because that should have just absolutely blasted right there. So because it's stalled, I'm even more convicted to the downside at this point. So I kind of like that, because that means that the bulls didn't take advantage of that opportunity. So either they're trying to trap bears and they're letting it push down a little bit so they can slam it back to the upside, or they've just completely used their buying power up to get it right back up here, and then the bears are absolutely going to destroy them. So I like the second option, but we'll just have to see which one happens. Also, that XYZ quench, I don't know, I said quench, swing up 30% from when some of us entered last week. Yeah. I like Marin XYZ. I like that one. Let's take a look at that one. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, it's a nice curl on that one. Inverted head and shoulders, all that good stuff. All the fun pattern stuff. And if you look at this one, like it's got a history of those scoops, right? That's a beautiful characteristic on a stock. This thing just loves those little curled bottoms. Beautiful stuff. And you just combine that with a little bit of structure, and you've got yourself some risk analysis and some, ooh, what was that? Got another sharp red candle there on SPX. That was interesting. But yeah, no, I like that one. I like that. XYZ is a really good one for just those slow, methodical, just single legs, right? You're in the 15% June 6th. You're talking about XYZ, or you're talking about your Maricals? $15. Okay. Ooh, SPX, what are you doing, baby? That's interesting. Like, none of this makes sense. What it doing? I don't know. It's going against me is what it's doing. But again, this is my cheat day. So if this was like a normal, you know, we're going to focus on risk management, blah, blah, blah. We're not letting something go down 60, 70% ever. So don't, that is not the takeaway for today, guys. This is just our fun little, let's see what happens kind of setup. Just look at those. Yeah, those XYZ ranges are pretty shiny. Let me see if I can pull it up over here for the recording. Let me just do that. It's nice and clean. That's why we like it. I like that. Oh, I forgot to pull up my Discord after I did that. Can't see you guys. All right, so here, actually, let me plot some of these out, actually, now that this is negative 20. This is negative 8 to 12. And then this was negative 5. So what I'm doing here is I'm mapping out the percentage on the contract at each of these little bottoms here. And with this one, I didn't catch the actual number 5. It was up here somewhere when I saw the 5. I just looked over here real quick and I missed it. But that's a rough estimate here. So what we can do by assessing these is we can say, okay, well, this is 8 to 12% down at this little pivot, right? And then up here a little bit higher, you know, rather than being 30 or 40% down, we were 20. And then when it came back to roughly that same area, we were only 5% down. So that tells us kind of what kind of pressure is on the puts. And I didn't catch this at all because I just wasn't paying attention. So when the price comes back down, we can kind of re-gauge, you know, that kind of violence and see if we're kind of plus or minus on our trajectory, right? Consistent range is the best. Yeah, I like clean up and down. It's a clean setup here. So even like this range here, right? Like if I just draw another range, just like the one I already drew, this whole impulse here should just get consumed because it's out of place. There's no there's no justification for it. So even if I go up to like a higher time frame, it's a nice recovery, but then what's this guy doing, right? Like there's no, it's hard to explain, but it just doesn't fit the volume profile. And that tells me that this is just kind of being allowed to happen rather than the bulls doing it deliberately. I feel like the bears are just kind of trying to harvest people, if that makes sense. So if people are getting in and out on those calls, great, more power to you, but as long as you're getting out. I just don't want to see anybody get trapped on that trying to chase the highs. So we definitely have a clean, still pretty bearish setup there. John Zadar sold a triple Q call 0-day for 60% gains. That's good stuff, man. You hit the take profit range resistance on the 15-minute QQQ. Beautiful trade. And you're out. That's what's important. You lock those profits and you're good to go. Oh, here comes another bloodbath on SPY. Maybe. Or SPX. I keep saying SPY. Spikes. I should call it that. Tasty juice. Yeah, I'm going to emoji that too. Bouncing on the 9 MA 1 minute on the Qs. Yep. Makes sense. There's a weird sense of euphoria in the market right now, and I don't trust it. You said the 9 minute you're watching? Yeah, I could see that. Interesting. But I wonder why. It doesn't make any sense. Ooh, liquidity on the 1550. You guys are still talking about Mara. Bergie says, as long as SPY stays above 489 today. Oh, you have a put credit spread. Nice. Nice, nice. Oh, no, you guys are good. I want you to talk about Mara all you want. We're just watching this one play out. It's taking a little bit. Put credit spread. What was your difference in strikes there, Fergie? Let me look at SPY itself too, because that's a weird one. And I assume you mean 589, right? Not 489. Yeah, it's a 100-point move on that. I feel like this euphoria is people probably just trying to push it over 600. I mean, I don't like that. Just seems like a recipe for disaster on a day like today. There's no other justification for it. We've got a bearish setup. We've got a big, huge gap to the downside. If the only reason this is pushing up is because people want it to get to 600, that's going to hurt a lot of people. Yeah, 589 sounds a lot better. Unity starting to rebound after the morning sell-off. Looks like $25 is resistance. You mean sport? It went down to 25.10. Yeah, I mean, this is a, this is another one, right? We can just trade this all day, every day, until it breaks that support level down there in 23. That's a pretty clean setup as well. Oh, you're fine. I was just confused. I get confused easy, guys. So let me just zoom out a little bit, and I'll try to leave this over here. I keep changing the ticker. Still drinking your coffee? Okay. Well, as long as you're drinking it and not wearing it, you're in a good position to start the day. All right, so we're getting a little hedgy signature right here. So I'm going to erase these boxes, and we should see our sell-off pretty soon. Let me just do that. Oops. All righty. It's death time, death and destruction. I like this. Oh, let me turn these moving averages off as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep an eye on the chat, and this window over here is super bright. I'm getting a glare off the car hood. I'm trying not to see spots, so I got to keep leaning in. You guys will see it on the stream and the recording there. You guys in Discord have no idea what I'm doing with my face, but it's fun. It's fun. We have a good time. Ooh, okay. So you did the dollar spread, the 588, 589. Good stuff. You got a pretty good credit for that. Good stuff. I like it. Hopefully this, I'm expecting a pretty big move to the downside. I mean, when I say expecting, I'm seeing potential for, not waiting or not trying to force it. 7% profit kind of sure thing. I like put credit spreads. They're nice. It's an easy way to just kind of cap your risk and your profit, so you got a defined outcome without a whole bunch of capital. Adrian Inc. Yeah, on Tuesday and Thursday I do the free live stream, so that's on YouTube. It's on Twitch. I got a Kick channel I just started last week. It's on the Facebook. I think it's all over the place. I get around, but the advantage here is being in the Discord, and I'm actually going to put that in these channels here on the social media stuff, so that way if anybody is watching that, they don't have like the YouTube lag. Because on other streams we're going to do like faster moving, just in and out scalps, not the stuff where we're holding. Discord is annoying because you can't zoom in. Well, what are you trying to zoom in on? Because I can zoom in. I kind of stay zoomed out a little bit so that people get a little less stressed when they see the candles move. At least that's the goal. Fergie should close and not have anything to worry about while I mow. Well, what was your original plan for that, and how far did you like, how close are you to hitting that target, that original goal? Yeah, if they put the ticker and time frame in the background, it does get a little bit annoying. Like this, I'm just looking at SPX in the 1 minute. So I do like TradingView for that, but I can't trade SPX contracts on TradingView. It'll kill me. What's up, Duco? Yeah, Doji man. Yeah. I get around, round. I get around. Computer. Yeah. That is true. Thank you for sharing that, Tammy. If you do the control plus and minus, it makes the chat smaller. Duco, you didn't miss a whole bunch yet. We're still waiting for that bigger move. Debo just wants violence. He wants blood. Violence 59.40. You know you wanna. Yeah, pretty much. Damn it, dude. Can anybody else hear me? It's just us, Tammy. All right, let me restart. I'll be back. I hate Discord. Anyone who's watching this recording, please send help against Discord. Hey, I'm back. Can you guys hear me now? Duco, so help me. Okay, you guys can. All right, good stuff. What's everyone's average on SPX? Well, hopefully nobody's trading this. I know Debo's in, but I don't want you guys to copy trade, because this is 80% down right now, and it's my cheat day. But I don't want that to be everyone else's cheat day. Duco wants to trade SPX. I mean, you get a pretty fat discount right now, but yeah, be careful. Smell the beans. Okay. Well, we're just waiting for a violent slam down to a new low. Debo's got a 58.95 strike. Okay. Oh, wow, you're up there. Okay. So you're $20 above mine. Interesting. SPX is the devil, yes. But we have to be careful not to add more than we're willing to lose to SPX or anything else for that matter that's got that kind of high risk profile. Because that's where SPX really hurts people, is they keep adding to it, right? So I'm okay with this even if it goes to a total loss, right? I am perfectly okay just building this account back up, but I don't want to do that if I lose everything, because then I just got to deposit money and that's annoying. So I'm okay taking a spanking, but I'm going to control the size of that spanking, the size of that battle, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is pretty much zero hero. Pretty much all SPX trades are, unless you want to really focus in, and we can do that next time. Really focus in on just those super tight risks, and if it's a 15% loss, you just take it, right? 15-30% profit, you just take it and you move on. What you don't want to do is get caught in, 80% down, add some more, and then it's back above your break even by like 12%, and then you just don't take it. and then it just goes back red again. So you gotta be very careful with SPX, and that's why I think it's kind of a good thing this is happening today because you guys can kind of see how calm I am about it and not like, you know, freaking out or like trying to like fidgeting all over the place and, you know, trying to peel off my skin. You know, it's not worth it. It's just a small amount of money on a small account, right? I don't know what you mean by at the money contract. I'm trading 58.75, so it's pretty far out. Don't no worries. I mean, the closer you can get to the strike, the better you are, but I can't trade that on this size account. So this is a good demonstration of why people shouldn't be trading SPX on a smaller account. JK, all right. Hope you're JK. All right, so it's a good demonstration day. So we'll see. All right, we got about 4 minutes until the 11 o'clock mark, and we'll see what we get there. And then I'm going to have to jump off here right around that time, and I'll just update you guys in the chats. And yes, actually, let me end. Well, no, I'll keep the recording going a little bit longer, the live streams, because I just realized I'm streaming here. I don't want to cut everyone else off, but I do have to get off of here pretty soon. And then tomorrow it's just business as usual. No more cheat day. I just take today's spanking and move on, and then tomorrow we go back to our 3%. I like it. Oh, thank you, Jersey. Been enjoying you today. I'm glad you're here. No, I'll be here tomorrow morning. I'm definitely doing the live stream, and I'm doing the Rags to Riches stream. I got a meeting from 1 to 2:30. And then I have to leave after that. So we have a staff demo here. And then once that's done, I got to jump off, and then I got to get all my stuff. Your wife didn't like the idea of cheat days. Well, you know, in the spirit of risk management, maybe it's the way you approached it. Did she know it was a cheat day? Did she know it wasn't limited to like cake? An important factor. All right, sad boy. It's good. I'm glad you're here, and we'll definitely catch up tomorrow. You tried to include her. Oh, well, you know, some people have their different flavors. You know, gotta be careful how you introduce that stuff. You'd have a friend of a friend say it. Just kidding. You got this. I believe in you. So puts on Duco's marriage, by the way. What's up, B. Michelle? Yeah, we're just kind of hanging out. This is my cheat day, so I'm going to use this as a good demonstration for why a small account shouldn't be trading SPX. Oh my God, did the audio leave again? Can anybody hear me at this point? Okay. Oof. That would have been like the third time already. Okay. I really hate Discord. Does that mean Duco is single now, asking for a friend? We'll let you know end of day. His marriage is a 0 day. We'll let you know. We'll have his people call your people. Oh, thanks, Nikki. You can still hear me? All right. Good stuff. All right, guys. Yeah, I hate to cut this off, but I gotta jump off here. I will update you guys in the chats with what I do in the Discord. Yeah, it's weird that SPX is doing that. It's interesting, but that's the nature of SPX as well. So the only thing we can control is the size of our risk, the size of our loss, right? So with that said, I am going to jump off. I will update you guys in the free and premium and lifetime chats for the various positions. And I will see you guys as soon as I can, but I got a bunch of stuff I got to do. So thank you all for hanging out. Let me end the live stream first. And thank you all who are watching that. We'll catch you guys in the Discord. The link is there in the chat. I'll put it in there one more time. And you guys can watch me every day, except for Wednesdays. I don't trade on Wednesday morning. That's Lee. And I hope you guys enjoyed the cheat day. We'll see you next time. And then in Discord,